One of the New York Rangers' young defensemen currently on the roster, Zac Jones, has been scratched in 2 of the games so far, and the 1 game he did play out of the 3, he didn't look very good against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I think there's a chance that we could see the Rangers end up trading him for either a prospect swap or a potential, third, maybe like 4th and 7th or 4th and 6th with a conditional on it, pick on it or something like that is definitely a possibility. I think honestly at this point, I don't know if he's quite ready to be on a, playoff caliber team like the Rangers. I think a team like San Jose, who obviously are in a rebuild mode right now, and they're definitely nowhere near competing. I think they could be a team to look at Zac Jones and be willing to give up, a prospect swap or, another, 3rd or 4th round pick, maybe with a condition on it that if he plays a certain amount of games or gets a certain amount of points over the next couple of years, that the pick could get a bit better. But I just think that, Zac isn't really the best overall D-man. I think offensively, sure, he's, I would say, ready for the NHL. You can say that. Had a phenomenal year last year in Hartford, but I think at the NHL level has definitely struggled so far to really be solid defensively. And, him and Braden Schneider against the Columbus Blue Jackets, if you watch that game, you could see there was a lot of issues defensively with both them. Not saying it was all on Zac, but I think, you could say at least a bit more than half that was on Zac. I think overall, Braden Schneider should be with a more veteran guy like an Eric Gustafsson, and I think that is a perfect pairing right there. I think Gustafsson right now is just a better overall player than a Zac Jones, and with the fact that, Zac Jones is waiver eligible, so you can't send him down to the AHL, otherwise he'd be on waivers, and he would 100% get claimed, at least by a team like San Jose, for example, like I said. So, to me, personally, I think Zac should be a trade candidate. Now, whether we hold on to him for a bit longer or trade him fairly soon, we'll have to wait and see, but personally, I just do think that even a guy like Ben Harpur, I would much rather see up at the Rangers as that, third lefty spot. I think would be a much better option for the Rangers. I think Harpur can be a very good 7th D-man, and we also did see at times last year a bit as well where Ben Harpur was playing left and on the right side, even though he's primarily a left-handed D-man. We have seen times here and there when he was on the right side, so he's got a bit of versatility there as well in case of other injuries or whatever else happens. So I think overall, Zac is, yes, a solid player, but I do think that what would be best for his development himself, as well as the Rangers moving forward and obviously trying to compete for the playoffs and potentially go on a run here, I think the best scenario for both sides is to move on from Zac Jones, try and get a prospect swap, or maybe it's a prospect swap and a late pick, or maybe it's a mid-round pick, like a 3rd or a 4th, that if he plays a certain amount of games, throw a condition on it where it can be a 3rd or a 2nd if something really crazy happens with him or something like that. So I do think, though, he definitely has some value, I'm sure, but the fact that he is waiver eligible definitely hurts that value. But a team like, San Jose, I think, is a real potential destination for him. They obviously need NHL caliber D-man. I think Zac Jones can be about that, but not for a team who's trying to compete right now, trying to make the playoffs, trying to be one of the top teams in the entire Eastern Conference. So I do think that moving on from him would be best for Zac as well, because Zac, I think, can be a, probably 2nd pairing offensive defenseman who can be a somewhat non-liability defensively, maybe quarterback, power, maybe like a Tony DeAngelo type, something like that. Could definitely be a possible outcome for a Zac Jones down the road. And, we'll see what happens with his development and stuff and whether or not he actually can take that step forward. But I don't think it's going to happen on the Rangers because we need guys who can compete right now on this team as our, 7th D-man. And I just don't think he's good enough. I would much rather see a guy like Ben Harpur be that 7th D-man, be the guy who can play left and right side as well. I don't really think you want to see Zac Jones on the right. Could probably make things even worse. So I think overall right now, the Rangers should definitely try and look to move him, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I got to imagine they probably are because I'm sure the Rangers see it as well. I mean, he did not have a good game against Columbus, and maybe the next time he's in here, he has a much better game and bounces back, but I just don't think that he's quite good enough to really make this team and be on this team long-term for the rest of the season because, like I said, we are trying to compete for a Stanley Cup here. We're trying to compete for at least a minimum, a top 3 spot in the Metro Division, so I definitely think that moving on from Zac, getting Ben Harpur as that 7th D-man, calling him up, I think would be great for this team. And, we have a decent amount of depth defensively in the AHL right now, and I think there's a lot, like at least like 2, maybe even 3 guys you could say who are better and more NHL ready than Zac Jones. And you might be able to argue that Matthew Robertson would be a better fit right now on that, 3rd line, 3rd D pair spot with Braden Schneider. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but I definitely would like to see Zac Jones traded for a prospect swap, or obviously a pick conditionally, whether it's conditional like fourth that turns into a third if he plays a certain amount of games, or maybe it's a point condition, or maybe it's just a prospect swap for a guy who was taken in the mid rounds, like the 2021 or 2022 draft, something like that, out of college. That's definitely a possibility. But I do think the Rangers should be looking to trade him, and I definitely think he still has a bit of value as well. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys have, please smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for daily New York Rangers content. Thanks for watching, and see ya.